Alright guys, so as you know, if you're following the build so far, I'm working on the suspension and the underbody. The underbody of the car, the w124, you can just about see in the background there. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm after stripping out the bushings on the rear knuckle, as you've seen in the previous video. Then I took apart the front hubs, not completely now. So what I've done is I have taken a disc bracket, brake bracket off, brake caliper bracket, and the rear shocks or struts, and obviously the brake caliper. The sensor that goes along here, I believe holds, if I remember correctly, it was for the brake wear sensor and a few other little bits. So that's strip that apart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring these back as much as possible to get them to the point where I can paint them with a bit of black hammerite just to clean them up a little bit. Black. We're on a national lockdown here at the moment with the coronavirus, so you can't, like, there's no hardware shops, anything like that open. Well, to my knowledge, we're locked down. We can only go within a certain distance of our house, walking, and then you can go grocery shopping, which is not something I do. We do it online, but the local petrol station to me has a hardware shop attached to it, so they've been able to open that up. Now it's only very, very minor stuff. So what I got was just a bit of Total Care, or something like that it's called, Total Metal Care Triflow Black. So that'll do what I need, because it probably won't last too long anyway. But I'm just going to do a quick cleanup on them and get them things. So I'll do the same with the diff and the rear axles as well. I noticed when I got working on the rear axle, or power washing the rear axles, mine, the bushing, the boots are just torn to bits. So I think there's probably a bit of play in that rear, on one of the rear CV joints, and as such they'll be it'll be maybe swapped out for the ones that came with the 300 TD that I was breaking. Alternatively, I might look to getting new CVs. I can't imagine it's too difficult a job to fit them. But anyway, that's for another day. So what I've done with the rear, the back ones, is I've gotten them to the point where I've gotten all the loose dirt off them. I'll go quickly across that now with the air grinder, or the grinding. It's like a die grinder that I've attached a wire wheel to, and it does a great job. It's very loud. Probably ear protection. Good thing I've been using a slag hammer as well then, just to break up big huge chunks. So that's basically got one from within about 5 minutes. You can get it from that. Now I'll take more care with these, because these will be more on show, if you know what I mean. You see like how bad they are too. Here is the one that I have cleaned up, and as I say, it takes no real time at all. Maybe 5 minutes with the wire wheel, and probably a little bit less if I didn't go across this with the slag hammer first. So that'll be a good thing. I noticed also these are not in great shape. Also, the person who has previously used a black moly grease on these, which is not what you're meant to use. What you're meant to use is red rubber grease. And have you ever noticed when you do take off ones that haven't been disturbed, it's always red? Now I know you're not seeing this in colour because it's in black and white, but it's like a red coloured grease, and that is the right stuff for rubber. What happens with the moly grease is it breaks down the actual structure of the rubber, and slowly but surely corrodes it. and pulls it in with itself to the slider, and essentially makes it bind up a little bit. Only very, very slight. Now you're talking minor, very minor details here, but that will cause a wheel to squeal, braking, brake squeal. So that's no good for the job. So I'm sort of happy that I pulled all of this apart for that. And not only that, I'll show you another reason why I'm quite happy I pulled it apart. Now, those of you that know the w124 system will no doubtly know that the springs are under huge tension in it. And as such, I drove this car. I think I bought this car with an MOT, drove it quite often enough, maybe I might have done 300 miles in it, something like that, and never did I notice this. So if I grab that with such a little force, I can put that down. And now just to keep that one down, I think there's one that's even worse. Now watch when I let go of these. Right, so that little force I shouldn't be able to hold these down like this with just one hand with no force. Watch, it's a race. This one's just not coming up. That one's going up, the one on the left hand side, on my left. But the other one is just not coming up at all. Shot, absolutely shot, and you couldn't tell. You could not tell. Well, obviously you could tell if you ever had a correct W124. I had never obviously driven a correct W124, one that was in perfect condition, because I couldn't tell that was gone from driving it, and it is absolutely knackered. So I think that's fallen down on its own, just me holding it. I think that's a good enough reason to upgrade, isn't it? That's a good enough reason maybe to go and get some Bilsteins. Bilsteins, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if the budget is there for the Bilsteins at the moment. As I say, we're in a national lockdown here, so the income is all very limited. So it's like, it's not a great time to be buying expensive performance parts. So the saving grace from this is I'm here for the foreseeable future working away on this. So so far with the build, I have bought a roll of I went through a roll of flux core 0.9 mil flux core welding wire, MIG wire, and a €10 tin. €10 and I got ripped off. A €10 tin of paint, bit of power washing, and that. The powder coating and everything was very cheap, so that wasn't an issue. Again, it's good quality finish. So yeah, it's sort of cheap stuff that I'm doing at the moment, but I find there's a correlation between how much labor you put into something and how expensive the products you're using are. So if you're putting a lot of labor in, and this seems to be across the board for most trade things now, not maybe consumer items, but prosumer items, the amount of work you're putting in, the cost of the actual parts are going to be quite cheap. And then the stuff that you're not putting in a lot of work into, the cost of the parts go up. So a prime example is, I believe, now I might be corrected on this, a head gasket. You're putting in hours of work to change the head gasket on a car. So a large amount of time goes into it, but the actual gasket and the studs and all that stuff is quite small. It's cheap. Same for timing belt. Timing belt takes 4 hours, so it's a good labor time. But the belt itself and all that and the units that go along with it are quite cheap. Whereas if you change, let's say, some brake calipers, or a lot of brake calipers on things, you change a brake caliper takes you on a lift, takes you 15 minutes maybe, and it costs €90 because the the amount of time it takes you to swap out that unit is so little, you can charge more on the actual part itself. Anyway, that's just my observation. I might be totally wrong about that, but that's my observation for castings in general. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, that this guy kind of got away from me. It went kind of sideways on me, this conversation. But anyway, I'm going to keep on going with these, basically popping them on here, grinding them away, keeping them, making them nice and thin. Then I'm just going to black hammerite them all, and we'll see what's tomorrow's task. I probably will still be doing this tomorrow and the next day. Alright guys, thanks for watching.